What exactly is happening in Nepal? It turned out and it began as a protest by Gen Z, but it turned violent, and right now, what the future holds for Nepal hangs in balance. Nobody knows what is going to happen next. To discuss this situation further, I don't think we can get a better voice than the guest that I have in front of me, senior journalist and writer, Mr. Yubaraj Ghimire. Thank you very much, Mr. Yubaraj.
Thank you.
My first question, why did this situation arise?
Because there was tremendous unhappiness and anger among the people about the prevailing level of transparent corruption among the rulers, cutting across party lines. And they all through refused to order any kind of investigation on this. People were frustrated, but they were not organized. And now, after that, there was this, this social media at least provided a platform for the people of all ages, including the younger ones, to express their anger, frustration, and even criticize the rulers. But the government, instead of responding to that in an accountable manner, chose to ban the social media, depriving them of a powerful platform to vent their anger. So when that platform was smashed, they decided to pour their anger on the streets. That's how it happened.
Are you trying to suggest that this was organic? Because obviously there is when you burn houses, when you kill people, when you raise hotels, arson, looting, it seems that something of this magnitude cannot be spontaneous.
I'd say that this was organic, largely organized by what you call Gen Z, but they didn't have the political understanding of the situation. There was naivety in their understanding of the situation and outcome if their movement goes bigger. But I think there was large-scale infiltration from the vested interest groups within. They could be people with a criminal intent. They could be people affiliated with the political parties. They could be, like other kind of people who saw this appropriate movement to, further their cause, which was different from Gen Z. And more than that, the most gruesome and inhuman manner in the government, the government responded to the situation, opening fire on students, young, as young as 12-year-old, and up to 25, 26, 32. When I checked the list, the oldest people losing their life, sustaining injury, they belong to that early 30 category. So the way the government responded, it was gruesome, inhuman, and unprecedented. Nepal has witnessed many violent political agitation.
Exactly.
But 30 people failing to the government, to government bullet in one single day, in a span of 2 hours,
is
3 hours,
unprecedented.
is unthinkable. It hasn't happened before.
So which is why I want to ask you, Mr. Ghimire, do you think that the political class, the old class, or the old guard against whom there was so much anger, just failed to see this coming and they failed to control? Zero intelligence, zero understanding of what is brewing.
Yes, both. In fact, it is both. One, there was zero understanding, but two, they thought that since they have been able to cross all the political protests in the past, they will be able to do this time also. What they failed to anticipate was the way political parties led by people who are 70 plus, 80 plus, that's the average leadership is in Nepal, or 60 plus in some cases, the way they will, organize the protest is different. And the government failed to anticipate the fury of these young people when it boils down to a point and pours on the street. It will bring different kind of like situation. But more than that, I'm still not suggesting that they were indulging in violence, protest, plunder, and all that. They're definitely infiltration of the.
No, so you seem to be suggesting two things, Mr. Ghimire. Number one, you're saying that this could very well be somebody infiltrating the protests by Gen Z.
Yeah.
But in the same breath, you also say that this was also a reflection of the naivety of
That's
Gen
true.
Z, where they did not know how to protest.
That's true.
So are both these things true? One of them true?
No, both things are true. The other truth is, that day on 8th of September, when they decided to hold this protest rally against corruption, I think this was just a going to be a symbolic protest. But it was provoked by the atrocious level of use of force by the state.
And the social media ban.
Yeah, yes. And also after that, when this was, maybe infiltration took place, there were vested interest groups who thought that this would be a right, platform for us to get something quick to our advantage. They infiltrated in a big way. And so this.
So when you say infiltration, you see there is also this theory doing the rounds. You would know more about this. There is definitely chatter in India. I'm sure there will be people talking about this in Nepal as well. That you cannot plan something, violence of this scale, this loot and plunder and arson of this scale, unless there is international interference, money, muscle, particularly from countries that do not like Nepal's new friendship with China.
Well, no, I'd say that, like any country, any power.
And I'm talking about the US.
Yeah. Any power in neighborhood and in distance would have interest in what happens in Nepal. They would want to use whatever emerging situation to suit their interest. But I won't think that on that very day, when during these 3 hours, most of the things happened, and international forces were involved in that. They will definitely be watching the situation and try to exploit it in their favor. So they have to be organizers of the protests have to be very careful and very clear about.
So you're saying the meddling can happen now?
It can happen now, yeah.
It may or may not have happened earlier, but can definitely happen now.
Yes.
Very interesting.
But I'd also think that at least the organizer, that is Gen Z group, has not only to denounce this, which they have already done, but they also have to place to the people that they will ensure that investigation takes place and culprits are exposed. To even the political parties, existing political parties, although this was against them, they owe it to the people to condemn it and to cooperate in investigation. So that is very, very necessary for retaining any minimal level of credibility they have.
What's the situation right now?
Situation is okay. Now army has in a way taken control of the situation. Curfew hours are relaxed. It's gradually returning back to the normalcy, but you never know. That's people are quite scared in the sense that we are not safe. Our children are not safe. The government is least bothered about that, and it is insensitive to the right of the people to people's right to their life and dignity and safety.
What about leadership? I mean, you've got Gen Z. You also have stories coming of two different delegations of Gen Z reaching the army. So there is Gen Z versus Gen Z. All sorts of things are happening. Who is going to steer this protest and eventually this ship?
And this,
who takes over the reins of Nepal now?
This is something they have to come out very clear about. Yes, Gen Z, there are different groups of young people, they thought that their movement would expose corruption at high level and the government would take necessary actions, which government didn't do. But when it it resulted in the exit of the Prime Minister, who commanded almost 2/3 majority in Parliament. Now it has taken a political shape. So Jenny, you have to be very clear. Yes, there were students, there were young people, there were people working in the NGOs, in embassies, and all that. So obviously they will have to, if it becomes a political, like process now, they have to, those who are working in the NGO or in embassies,
will have to take this up full time.
Yeah, they have to.
But here lies my question. You see, the nature of power is that you want to grab onto it.
Yeah.
Nepal has a history of political uncertainty. It has a history of, very recently we all know that any form of political formation was being formed.
Yes.
We're opposing one person and then now you're in an alliance with them. Do you think that any formation from here on will continue with that political instability that is plaguing Nepal?
At the moment, yes. It's become more uncertain. Even you mentioned about the Gen Z group. There are groups within groups and different political viewpoints. That means that there is no political clarity, one. Two, although Oli Fled resigned instantly and his entire cabinet is under the custodial protection of Nepal army. But they are also worried when they have seen this confusion within the Gen Z.
Yeah.
Now they are saying that, like Parliament, even the President, who is a Congress cadre, even the President has said that we have to find the solution from within the Constitution. That means this Parliament will elect. So it will be either Deuba or Oli or Prachanda.
Oh.
So their interest in, like saying that, okay, it has to be found from within the Constitution is only intended to ensure their,
survival and continuity.
In power. Yeah, and continuity. But the point is, what does this Constitution mean? Or what does this Parliament mean when this doesn't protect the life, dignity, future, and right to protest and right to assembly, the young generation?
Correct.
Who are trying to find their future in their own country for the first time. For the first time they are trying to, on an average 500,000 Nepalese leave the country every year, mostly to the Gulf countries. Every day, like 2, 3, 4 coffins come back from Gulf countries. Remittance is the highest contributor to GDP.
Yeah.
But the point is, for the first time, they were trying to create a situation where they will have their future in their own country, and the government didn't cooperate in that. So, what does that Constitution of Parliament mean when you are not safe, when your rights are not protected, when you are not insensitive to their approach to ensure their own future in their country? That's the question.
What if these political parties, for the sake of their survival, co-opt many of these Gen Z leaders with political ambition? You see, this is not something unusual.
Unusual in our part of the world. Yes, that can happen. There could be any kind of element. But first thing is, they have to investigate and be sure who are the murderers of this.
Correct.
That is this is not something that has happened in the past in Nepal.
Yeah. So there is would you agree that there is a trust breakdown?
Totally.
And that needs to be fixed first before you look for any other solution.
And just because you say this constitution is democratic, this parliament is the highest representative forum in democracy, but at the same time, if you are insensitive towards this mass murder, then it's not a democracy.
Correct.
Where the people are citizens, life doesn't matter. That's not a democracy.
So to build that faith in that constitution is more important than citing that constitution.
Precisely.
Okay. Last question. There are many names that are doing the rounds. Of course, there is the former Chief Justice of Nepal, who in the Indian media It's being spoken about that she'll take over as the interim prime minister. I don't know what the status is right now. You would know better. But leaders like Shah Balen, a hip hopper from Tamil, a civil engineer from Karnataka, structural engineer. He becoming the mayor of Kathmandu and then looking and eyeing for that position. Do you think anything is possible right now?
Anything is possible, but I think Balen Shah has opted out. He said, this is your movement, you must lead the government. But then, Sushila Karki, after she retired as the Chief Justice, was at least busy, in coming in public forum and, raising the issue of corruption in high places, how it has plagued judiciary, how it has plagued executive and all that. She's been saying that, so maybe they found a connect because anti-corruption movement, and she's the one who raised that.
There was an impeachment motion against her also.
That was because she was the Congress party government, which was led by Deuba then, didn't find her comfortable being at the
at
top of judiciary, as the court was considering many corruption cases against the government. So in Nepal, it's not they don't have this right to impeach is being misused to against anyone who they don't see comfortable. What happens is, if certain number of MPs give a notice to Parliament Secretariat, they would not even verify the signature and right away suspend the person accused. So that was, they started in order to put the Supreme Court and constitutional bodies under their control, and mostly blackmailing the people who stand up against them.
And that is why you think there is a loss of faith in this system, political system. Last question. See, India has to be concerned about, we share a border, we share a relationship with Nepal. What should India do in a situation like this? Because it impacts India.
It impacts India. Any kind of unrest in the neighborhood will have a spillover effect. But India has to be very cautious, because I think India's over-engagement in 2005, 2006, to the extent of deciding certain agenda without letting the people of Nepal decide, has backfired. I'll see, when Nepal became a secular republic from a Hindu country, it's a good idea, it's a very positive concept. But it is ultimately for the people of Nepal to decide. And it was not allowed to be debated in Parliament. And also the monarchy and traditional forces.
So interesting you bring that up.
And into the monarchy and traditional forces were party to the conflict, one side of the conflict. When the country goes for a national, for a peace, conflict resolution process, all sides of the conflict have to be involved in that. One thing I keep citing is, what if Nelson Mandela has refused to work with apartheid regime to bring peace? You cannot exclude one major section that is involved and affected by the conflict. Because conflict resolution would require national commitment and national involvement across the board. They excluded deliberately the monarchy and other parties, traditional forces, and only one side appropriated this peace resolution. That's India supported that move, and Nepal not being able to resolve the peace process 19 years after the peace accord was signed, not even moving 2 steps ahead on the transitional justice is because of that interference.
Okay. And that is going to play heavily even now in Nepal.
Yes. So that
on how to trust India.
Yeah, exactly.
Okay.
So it will be very sad thing if there is a credibility or trust deficit between India and Nepal.
Interesting. Now it's very interesting you mentioned monarchy, because the monarch held a huge rally in Kathmandu a few months ago, and there was a huge support, a huge rally in support. Do you possibly see a situation where Nepal could embrace the king once again?
So I'll tell you. I mean,
In the middle of all of this?
Nepal's monarchy has played a very important role in the formation and creation of that country. 1768, it came into that size and shape, And in their leadership, Nepal has remained always an independent country, never colonized. In 2006, they were in an unfortunate situation. King took over, and there was political protest. But the demand was king hand over hand over power back to the political parties and remain a constitutional thing. But because there were external, interference, that monarchy was abolished. But after that, imagine today's leaders are still, continuing in power without responsibility, without responding to demand for any kind of investigation and corruption. They hold on to power, 2 days more than they should be there. But the king not only vacated the palace, after holding a press conference and saying, I am leaving my scepter and crown in safe custody of the people. He drove himself with his wife by his side.
Yes.
And this is perhaps first one instance in the world history where a dethroned monarch leaves that country. People got an instant feeling that this institution and representative of the monarchy, loved the country. At least to remain as a king also, he would require his territory. And then he behaved very well, although political parties insulted, didn't, miss any opportunity to humiliate him. They are paying the price for that. The peace process is not complete. I don't know whether monarchy returns or doesn't return, but if the Nepalese people are to decide, and they must decide, without external interference on these very crucial questions, because after monarchy is gone, Nepal's stability and ranking in the world, this thing is really, really gone down. So it's for the people to decide.
In conclusion, monarchy, can it make a comeback in a political arrangement?
Yes.
He doesn't return as the king, but as a political formation.
Yeah, it has to be. All political parties, if they review, which is a very, very essential process in democracy, if they review what happened after the monarchy is gone, and if they, decide in the interest of the nation, I think they can do that.
It's interesting that you mentioned about how he drove himself out. I still remember an Indian Express headline with a shot of him in the car, which said, Mr. and Mrs. Gyanendra, not King and Queen Gyanendra. So the idea was to show that they've now become a ordinary citizen.
And they accepted that position. They accepted that position very, very, with a lot of dignity and courage.
Mr. Yubaraj Ghimire, thank you so much for your time.